This is where we left in the previous video by configuring React with Stripe for the actual payment. Now, what is the next step? At the moment, we are working on the premium plan. So as soon as a user click on this plan, all what we need is to take the ID of this plan and pass to Stripe. And Stripe is going to process that as we saw at the back end. When making the payment, we need the ID of the plan, and that is it. So over here, when we click on this one, we are going to render a form for the user to enter his or her credit card. So let's go ahead and then render that component. And I have already provided the template for you, and that is checkout, which is this one. Let's go ahead and then render it for you to see the actual component. So back to the app.jsx, which is this. And let's go ahead and then require the component as checkout form, which is this one. No, I have to place it inside the actual component, which is this, and copy that. And I can create one for pricing, or let me paste it here inside the plans. Alright, so let me close the template one. And now over here is going to be checkout form from the plans folder. And this is going to be public, but unless you are logged in before accessing that. So we need to protect that. So for the meantime, let's just bring it here and then provide the checkout form. And the path is going to be, I will say that checkout and then / the ID of the plan. So I will say plan ID. Well, I think I used wrong component, so let me remove it and provide you with the right component. And let me delete from the template, which is this one, and paste inside the template. And now copy that and place it inside the plans, or you can make it as payment. All right, this is a form. And now let's see, when we go to checkout and then / something, let's say 3, this is a form for the user to enter his or her credit card. At the moment, this is how it looks like. So let's go ahead and then configure it. So make sure to click on the checkout form, and let's look at the roadmap. Over here, this is a normal JSX by using Tailwind CSS. So let's look at the configuration. So first step is that we will need what is called payment element. And then we will need what is called use Stripe. And then lastly is going to be use element. Awesome. And at the moment, we don't have the API for making the request, but don't worry. Let's make sure that the form is being rendered for the user to enter his credit card. All right. So let's go ahead and then get the ID of the plan. Let me close these guys and let's focus on the checkout form. Before we get into the actual logic, let's look at the steps over here. This is where the Stripe payment will be. And let me have some spacing here. And here I'm placing the Stripe payment element. And this one is going to render the component for the user to enter his or her credit card. So let's save it and let's see. And as you can see, we have the form for the user to enter his credit card. All right. Next step is the actual logic, where we are going to take the ID of the plan and pass to the API for the actual payment as we did at the backend. So we are going to create the API service for that. So now let's go ahead and then inside the API services and plans, and this is the plan. or better still, let me create one folder for payment, or I will say Stripe, or you can make it as payment. So now let's go ahead and then configure that. Here is going to be checkout. Let's see the endpoint well. It is Stripe/checkout. So here as Stripe. All right. And here is checkout. And we will say payment intent API. And that is it. And we will need the payment or plan ID. So here I'm going to pass as an object, and we will need the field as subscription ID because that is what we specified at the backend. So here is that, and assign to the plan ID. Awesome. We are done with that. And for the meantime, let's comment out these guys. So let's go ahead and then continue with that. All right. So let's get to the pricing page. This is where we want to click. Upon clicking, we want to take the ID of this plan. So let's locate this particular component for the premium, which is inside the pricing. And let's find the premium one, in this case this. And then we have the path, which is this one, that point to premium subscription. So here, let's change it by using object, and the path is going to be checkout and then the plan ID. Then it's going to be backtick and then checkout, and then pass in the ID of the plan. So here as $ curly braces, and we can get it from the, is it premium plan? Yeah, premium plan. Then take the first index and let's take the ID of the plan. So now if I click on this one, it's going to render the form. So let's do it. And now there we go. And we have the ID of the plan, which is this. So we are almost there. So in here, we are going to get the ID of the plan. And it can be found on the use params. And let the structure as const, then the plan ID, which is equal to that. And let's bring this one up here. Supposed to be this. Yeah, I think it's okay. All right, so let's log the plan ID, and you're gonna see the actual plan ID over here. And there we go, we have it as that. As you can see, we have some warning over here as you have not registered or verified the domain. That is why we see this, because we are running on the local host, but this one accepts HTTPS. But don't worry, in production you will not see this warning. All right, so we know that the ID is being found here, so we are going to take this ID and then pass to the API for making the actual request. But before we do that, let's continue with the configuration. So here we will need the mutation for making the payment. So let's bring in the use mutation from React query, and then the first one is going to be the query key. Let me see the import. Yeah, so here we will need the mutation key rather, and then array, and I will say checkout. And then second argument is mutation function, and here as payment intent. And let me resave in the API services for Stripe. This is what I want to use. So over here, payment intent API, it is working. And next step is that we need to configure Stripe over here also as configure Stripe and it's going to be as const Stripe is equal to use Stripe hook, the one we imported from here. And next step is the element, as const element is equal to the use element, and we want to display some error. So here let's have some local state as error message, and then set error message, and then by default it is null. The auto import is fine for my use state. Let me bring this one up here as that. And last step is that we need to create what is called handle submit for the payment, and it's going to be as const handle, and let's mark it as async, and we have access to the event, and let's prevent the browser default. This is normal React form handling, and here we are going to check if the element is equal to null, then we are going to return. And also, in case we have an error, we want to return. So here as if, let me destructure the error from here as const, then the error, and let me rename to submit error, and is equal to await, then the element dot submit. So let's check for the submit error. In case we have one, then we are going to return also. Otherwise, we are going to bring in try and catch for the actual logic. So here as make the HTTP request by calling the mutate here. Let me assign to a variable as const mutate is equal to that. So in the try, we are going to make the actual request by using what is called mutate dot mutate. Supposed to be mutation. Let me use mutation to make it more descriptive, or just payment mutation. So in the try, we will bring in the payment mutation dot mutate, and then pass in the value. We need the ID of the plan, which is this. And here, let's check for success. Therefore, we are going to use what is called mutate async. So we can use the dot then here, and then dot catch. Pass in the error, and here let's just log the error. All right. In the dot then here, this is where we are going to redirect automatically to the payment verification endpoint. So over here, we are going to call Stripe as this. So here you're going to say that const, then the structure from the await Stripe dot the confirm payment. So it means that I have to mark this one as async, and then as a function call, and then in here as an object, I'm going to provide the element, and then comma here the client secret. And over here we can get the client secret from the mutation. So here is going to be the payment mutation dot data dot the client secret. Awesome. And then comma here the confirm payment, supposed to be confirm params, and then object, and here bring in the redirect URL, and this is where we are going to redirect the user to the success page for the payment verification. At the moment, let's give it as this. All right. And in case we have an error, which is this, we are going to set the error message with the error.message. All right, and in the catch also we are going to send that, and that is it. All right, we are almost done. All what has left is that we need to bind the handle submit to the form, and let's locate the form, which is this, and then provide onSubmit, and then paste the handler. And here let's uncomment this one for displaying loading and error, and for this one we have done it many times. So here bring it back, likewise this, and here is called payment mutation. And in case it is pending, we will say that processing, please wait. For error, we will say error, and let's go ahead and display the error also beneath the button. This error will be from the Stripe. All right, and this one going to be the server. That's our own server state errors or success. So before we continue, let's go ahead and log the payment mutation to know more about the request. So let's get back today and click on the pricing and then the premium one. And for the card number, we are going to use some test number, and that is 4242424242. And then the date, try to use future date. So here I will say, and then the CVC, any number, any country, and pay. Well, let's see the console where the error is. We got invalid value for the Stripe confirmation. Yeah, so here it means that we are using wrong path. We have to use a path that exists. So here we are going to use a path something like this, and then replace with that. We will go ahead and create a route that will match what is called success. This means that after successful payment is going to redirect the user to this page for the actual confirmation. With this one, let's try again, but let's make sure that we have required this component as elect. Let me resave the component, and here as elect. All right, so let's go ahead and try again, then enter 4242424242 and future date and pay. As you can see, we saw the processing, and let's check the console. And for the object, as you can see, now we have been redirected. As you can see that we got the redirect URL, which is this. This means that the payment is successful. The last step is that we need to create a route on the front end that will match this particular URL. And this is where we are going to take the payment ID to verify. All right, let's continue in the next video.